If the defense in the Diddy case gets its way, Diddy could be a free man next month.
Continue to engage in all these freak-offs with him, and he sounds really pissed off.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know, you think you silent treating me, and you think I'm going to be, nah. You'll have a rude awakening.
Snoop Dogg's marriage didn't just collapse. It imploded under the weight of a video so shocking that it threatens to pull one of hip-hop's most beloved icons into one of the darkest scandals the culture has ever seen. The footage, allegedly leaked by his wife and longtime business partner Shante Broadus, doesn't just expose infidelity, it ties Snoop directly to Sean Diddy Combs, the former music mogul now serving more than 4 years in federal prison for transporting women across state lines for immoral purposes. In a world where Diddy's name has become synonymous with coercion, manipulation, and recorded humiliation, this connection is nothing short of catastrophic, and for Snoop, the fallout could be career-ending.
She stepped up as my wife and handled that, and there's been many times where I've been at my lowest, and she's always been the strongest to get me back up to get back out there. You gotta get back out there and do what you do. Don't worry about what's happening over here. I'm gonna handle that.
Sources reveal that the clip first surfaced privately among industry insiders late last month, just weeks after Diddy's sentencing. According to individuals close to Shante, the decision to leak it wasn't impulsive. It was deliberate. A message. After nearly 3 decades of marriage, the woman who helped build the Snoop Dogg empire appears to have chosen public humiliation as her final act of control. The reason, insiders claim, is simple. Betrayal. Not just marital, but professional and spiritual, rooted deep within the empire she helped him create. To understand the full scope, you have to consider the backdrop. For years, Diddy's infamous freak-off gatherings were whispered about in Hollywood circles, lavish parties where power, money, and private acts mixed behind closed doors. Prosecutors described them as elaborate performances fueled by substances, secrecy, and fear. Witnesses during his trial spoke of cameras everywhere, tapes no one was supposed to see, and a pattern of exploitation disguised as entertainment. When the federal court convicted him under the Mann Act in mid-2025, many believed that chapter of hip-hop excess had finally closed. But now, with this new video, that past may be reopening, and Snoop Dogg might be one of its most unexpected participants.
Same kind of extortion that we heard when Cassie took the stand and testified on that airplane ride back from France. Diddy said, you don't do a freak-off, I'm going to release one of the freak-off videos that you are profiled in and humiliate.
We can't ignore the timing. Diddy's downfall left a vacuum in the industry. Dozens of artists have quietly distanced themselves from his legacy, removing his name from streaming credits and archives. Yet suddenly, Snoop Dogg's name is being whispered in the same breath. The video allegedly shows the rapper in a compromising encounter that sources claim took place at one of Diddy's Los Angeles estates in 2023, just months before federal raids on his Miami and LA homes. Whether the footage proves illegal activity remains unclear, but its existence alone links Snoop to a man federal prosecutors once called a predator in a designer suit. And for Shante Broadus, that connection may have been the final insult. Publicly, Shante has always been portrayed as the quiet backbone of Snoop's world, his teenage sweetheart from Long Beach Polytechnic, the girl who stood beside him before fame, and the woman he married in June 1997 at the Ritz-Carlton in Marina del Rey. Over the years, she managed his deals, handled his brand partnerships, and even became his official manager in 2021, overseeing ventures across music, gaming, and spirits. When Snoop joked earlier this year that he turned down a $100 million offer from OnlyFans because, as he said, I got a black wife, it was presented as a symbol of loyalty. Now, that loyalty seems shattered.
Your wife's been by you for your whole
She's your high
career.
school
Your high school sweetheart. She is.
You never leave home without it.
Yeah, that's right. But how has she kind of taken you on this journey? Tell us about her.
I think my wife has been my best friend for a couple of reasons. One is that she always understood who I was and who I needed to be.
Behind the scenes, sources say Shante Broadus had already been growing suspicious. The couple's relationship had survived earlier cheating rumors, from Selena Powell's trolling claims in 2019 to a 1998 paternity scandal, but the whispers linking Snoop Dogg to Diddy hit differently. Diddy's arrest in September 2024 dragged countless celebrities into the spotlight, with investigators combing through footage and guest lists from his private events. When his properties were raided in March 2024, federal agents reportedly seized digital archives spanning years. Some insiders now believe that Snoop's image, or at least his presence, appears somewhere in that material. According to a source close to Shantae's camp, she knew exactly what that meant for their family, for their brand, and for everything they had built together. This story isn't just about betrayal, it's about the scale of the fallout. Snoop Dogg has spent the last decade rebranding himself as America's favorite uncle, a mentor, TV personality, family man, and even a children's cartoon producer. He's a coach on national television, a figure of lighthearted nostalgia. But now, that carefully crafted image is colliding with allegations tied to one of the darkest criminal scandals in entertainment history. Fans are already divided. Some are calling the leak a setup. Others say it's the truth finally catching up to him. Meanwhile, Snoop's team has gone completely silent. No public statement, no denial, just a quiet digital cleanup. Posts featuring Shantae have slowly disappeared from his social media, replaced by promotional content for his upcoming projects.
Well, she just a strong black woman off the tippy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we've also learned that the couple's inner circle has fractured. Shantae Broaddus, described by those who know her as calculating and fiercely protective of her children, is reportedly preparing legal action of her own. Documents are said to be in draft form, outlining both divorce proceedings and intellectual property claims tied to their joint companies. Remember, she's not just his wife. She's the registered manager of several of his business holdings. In effect, she controls the operational core of the Snoop Dogg empire. That means her next move could determine whether Snoop Dogg remains a global brand or becomes another fallen icon buried under scandal. Meanwhile, the whispers around Diddy's world continue to spread. Inside prison, Diddy's circle has already splintered. Several former associates are allegedly cooperating with investigators to avoid additional charges. Among the evidence, federal agents have confirmed the existence of dozens of personal recordings from his private events, some reportedly labeled with celebrity initials. It remains unclear whether any of those labels match Snoop's. But the timing of Shantae's leak, just as those tapes are being cataloged, has raised serious eyebrows. Was she acting independently, or was she trying to get ahead of something bigger? Some insiders believe she may have leaked the video preemptively, ensuring that when federal evidence surfaces, she controls the narrative.
Hank and Freed were in the unit that was one floor above mine. So in terms of like the setting, it's a fairly decent chance that the room I'm describing is similar to where Diddy is. Yeah.
Snoop Dogg's panic, according to people close to him, has been palpable. The man who once bragged that nothing could rattle his cool is now reportedly on edge, calling lawyers and publicists around the clock. Those close to the family say he's convinced that Diddy's downfall could take him down with it, especially if prosecutors believe he participated in any of those infamous freak-off sessions. The irony is brutal. Snoop built his second act on discipline, on staying clean, rejecting temptation, and proudly turning down offers that could have made him hundreds of millions because, as he once said, "My wife wouldn't have it." Now, that same wife has flipped the script. But there's another layer here, one that industry veterans can't stop whispering about. Snoop's long history with powerful and dangerous figures, from Suge Knight to Diddy, has always danced on the edge of controversy. Suge Knight once implied that Snoop had explaining to do about the events surrounding Tupac Shakur's death, a statement that has resurfaced in recent weeks as conspiracy threads link Diddy's criminal world to past West Coast feuds. Could this new scandal revive those old suspicions? Could it connect dots the public never saw? It's speculation, yes, but in hip-hop history, every shadow seems to hide another story. Snoop Dogg saying he owns Death Row is no different than me saying Tupac was alive because I had unreleased Tupac music. It ain't no different, bro. Suge Knight, resurfaced interview as of now. Shantae Broaddus hasn't made a formal statement, but her silence feels strategic. Insiders claim she's working on a memoir already titled Paid the Cost to Be the Boss Lady. If she decides to include details about this scandal, the book could detonate careers across the industry. Meanwhile, legal teams are circling. Snoop has reportedly demanded that privacy clauses be enforced across their staff and family associates, hinting that non-disclosure agreements may already be in play. But enforcing secrecy when the internet is already ablaze may be impossible. We're watching a family empire unravel in real time, and the pace is accelerating. Each hour brings new leaks, new alleged screenshots, and more questions about what really happened inside Diddy's circle. Shantae didn't just leak a video, she opened a door. And what's behind it could be far worse than anyone imagined. Because if Snoop was truly part of that world, we have to ask, what else was he hiding? The video may have been just the first domino, and now the real questions are coming to light. Terrifying ones. Because Diddy's parties weren't just wild. They were allegedly criminal, filled with substances, coercion, and recordings meant for control. If Snoop Dogg was ever present, we have to ask, what did he see? What did he do? And what did Shantae really know all along?
Snoop Dogg saying he owns Death Row is no different than me saying Tupac was alive because I had the unreleased Tupac music. It ain't no different, bro.
According to insiders who once worked security at Diddy's estates, every corner was wired, hidden cameras, mirrored walls, and remote-controlled lighting designed to capture everything from grand entrances to private acts behind closed doors. Witnesses from his trial painted a disturbing picture, so-called freak-offs, where young women were allegedly pressured into intimate performances while guests watched. Substances flowed freely and sleep was rare. Diddy reportedly filmed these encounters, labeling the files with initials, dates, and sometimes even the names of famous guests. Some claim those tapes later became leverage, insurance against betrayal, a way to ensure silence from powerful people who attended. When federal agents raided Diddy's Miami and Los Angeles properties in March 2024, they confiscated hundreds of hard drives. Prosecutors described the contents as a catalog of control material, so explicit and compromising that investigators had to seal portions of the evidence. We can't say for sure whether Snoop Dogg appears in any of it, but his wife's leak seems suspiciously timed. Insiders within the legal community believe Shantae Broaddus may have known what was coming. As Snoop's manager, she had full access to his business accounts, travel records, and personal communications. She would have seen who he met, where he went, and what he spent. If Shantae chose to leak that video now, it might not have been about revenge at all. It might have been about survival.
So he put his hands on females, put his hands on producers, executives. That's just his. I guess that's what the whole name Bad Boy comes from. That people don't really understand. What is it? What is a bad boy? Why did he choose that name? Like he never really gave a clear definition of how he feels about that.
We have to remember, Shantae Broaddus isn't new to strategy. For years, she helped Snoop Dogg rebuild after controversy, lawsuits, old feuds, and scandalous headlines. She's the one who negotiated his brand partnerships and signed the licensing deals that turned him into a global icon. And now, those same instincts might be turning against him. According to one associate, Shantae is protecting the Broaddus name before it becomes collateral. If prosecutors begin expanding the Diddy investigation to include other high-profile guests, any tie could be catastrophic. By going public first, Shantae positions herself not as an accomplice, but as a whistleblower. Meanwhile, the financial ripple effect has already begun. Major sponsors are quietly reviewing contracts. Streaming platforms that feature Snoop's collaborations with Diddy-era producers have reportedly flagged certain videos for review. Corporate partners that once celebrated Snoop's laid-back charm are now keeping their distance, waiting to see where the legal dust settles. And in this silence, the narrative shifts hour by hour. Was Snoop Dogg drawn in by temptation? Or was he one of many lured into a scene too powerful to refuse?
Responsible for Diddy's day-to-day life. So he is able to provide a lot of information about what that life was like. He goes into drug use.
Those close to the couple say Shantae Broaddus has other files. One longtime friend claims she keeps digital backups of her husband's correspondence, emails, footage, even recordings of business calls. If that's true, the leaked video may be just one piece of a much larger vault. And if she's willing to expose one secret, what's stopping her from revealing more? We can't ignore the timing. Diddy's sentencing in June 2025 sent shockwaves through the industry, and investigations into his associates are far from over. The FBI has already confirmed it's examining whether his infamous freak-off events were used for blackmail or financial gain. If Snoop Dogg's name appears anywhere in that evidence trail, it could tie into new charges, transport violations, fraud, or even conspiracy. Behind the headlines, another theory is emerging. Some believe Shantae leaked the footage to distance her family from Diddy's empire before the government could. Her memoir, Long in Progress, suddenly makes sense. A controlled narrative. Her side of the story told before anyone else can tell it for her. In it, she reportedly writes about choosing self-respect over silence, a phrase now echoing across social media. We can see the strategy forming. While the world focuses on Snoop's downfall, Shantae Broaddus is rebranding herself as the woman who refused to be complicit.
Known that I've talked for a while, a lot of people are buzzing that Diddy's former BFFs are real quiet. And they have been. And people were wondering why and who's the next to fall. And then Jay-Z comes out, and then LeBron James says, I'm stepping away for excused personal reasons. And people are going, oh, what is going on?
But if Shantae Broaddus has receipts, others might too. Industry veterans whisper that Diddy's secret archives included footage not just of rappers, but of executives, athletes, and even television personalities. Some of those individuals may have already received quiet warnings to prepare for exposure. One entertainment lawyer told us, those drives could ruin careers faster than any court case. And if Snoop Dogg was even a peripheral figure in those circles, he's not alone in his fear. For years, whispers about Diddy's secret recordings have circulated among executives and insiders who attended his exclusive events. Some described them as trophies of power, files meticulously cataloged, encrypted, and stored in multiple locations. Others called them insurance, a way to ensure that anyone who entered his orbit would remain obedient long after the lights went out. Court. Filings from the 2025 trial referenced digital archives of compromised material, a phrase prosecutors never fully unpacked, but witnesses claimed referred to hundreds of hours of recorded encounters involving celebrities, industry executives, and even government officials. The implication was simple. Diddy didn't just host parties. He built a network of leverage.
Explain why he's speaking out now.
He said he's speaking out because he believes Diddy's a predator. He wants accountability, and he doesn't want someone like this to run unchecked in the future.
Investigators who handled the raids on Diddy's Miami and Los Angeles properties hinted that they recovered dozens of external drives, each labeled with cryptic initials and dates stretching back more than a decade. A source familiar with the case described them as a map of the entertainment elite, a digital ledger of who was present, who participated, and who could be controlled. The speculation now extends far beyond musicians. Whispers suggest that the footage may include athletes from national leagues, television hosts, and financial backers whose reputations depend on the illusion of respectability. The deeper investigators dig, the wider the circle appears to grow, feeding a panic that stretches from Hollywood to Washington. In that context, Shantae Broaddus's leak takes on new meaning. If she truly had access to one of these recordings, it could mean that Diddy's tapes were never fully contained. Some analysts believe multiple copies were distributed to trusted associates as a failsafe, ensuring that if Diddy ever faced prosecution, his secrets would survive him. If that's true, the footage involving Snoop Dogg may be just one of many fragments scattered across the industry. And if Shantae's decision to release it was an act of preemptive damage control, it may also have signaled to others that the archive is no longer sealed, that the vault is leaking piece by piece.
I want to start with alleged victim number 4, who goes by the name Mia. It's an alias. She is one of the people who is testifying where the judge has granted her anonymity. She is on the stand, but everybody in the courtroom has been warned. Do not reveal her identity. Do not even give a physical description.
What makes these tapes so volatile is their dual power, humiliation and proof. Many of Diddy's alleged victims have claimed they were coerced into filmed encounters while under the influence of substances or fear, making those recordings both evidence and blackmail material. In the wrong hands, they could redefine careers, destroy brands, or even trigger criminal investigations reaching far beyond the entertainment world. the legal stakes are enormous. Federal investigators are reportedly analyzing the recovered drives frame by frame, cross-referencing guest lists and timestamps, while attorneys for several high-profile clients quietly lobby to keep their names off any public record. Every day that passes without confirmation only fuels speculation about who might be exposed next. If these tapes exist in their rumored form, they're not just a threat to Snoop Dogg, they're a time bomb. Each drive, each encrypted file could hold the potential to collapse reputations and alliances that have shaped modern culture for decades. The tension is palpable, the sense that one wrong leak could ignite a chain reaction of confessions, lawsuits, and career-ending revelations. And if the archive ever surfaces in full, the fallout won't be limited to music. It will ripple through politics, media, and finance alike. The only question that remains is how long that clock has been ticking, and who will be brave enough or desperate enough to finally let it go off.
So she testified, excuse me, that she was Diddy's ex-assistant. She said he raped her, sexually assaulted her in various ways multiple times. He exacted unbelievable violence against her, threatened her, at one point allegedly threatened to take her phone and use anything on the phone.
Now everything Snoop Dogg built, the family man image, the corporate partnerships, the mentor role, hangs by a thread. His team has reportedly advised him to stay off social media and avoid making any statements that could later be used against him. Behind closed doors, sources say he's been reaching out to old allies from the Death Row Records days, seeking advice on how to survive the growing public chaos. Ironically, it's Suge Knight speaking from prison, who once said that Snoop had some explaining to do about his past connections. Those words suddenly feel prophetic. The most haunting part is that none of this may end with Snoop Dogg. Diddy's conviction has opened a gateway into a decade of hidden excess, and investigators are only beginning to uncover who truly benefited from it. Shantae's leak may have triggered a chain reaction, with each new revelation pulling another name into the spotlight. If her goal was to burn bridges, she may have started a fire that reaches far beyond her marriage. One thing is clear, Shantae Broaddus didn't just end her relationship, she detonated an empire. And if Diddy's infamous parties were even half as dark as witnesses have claimed, then Snoop Dogg might not be the only one running scared. In a world where every phone can record, every message can leak, and every secret has a price, we're left asking the question that could reshape the industry forever. Who's next? We'll be watching. Until then, stay tuned, stay curious, and remember, in Hollywood, loyalty is just another luxury that can disappear overnight.